We discussed in our last lecture about viruses and viroids. Ngayon naman dadako tayo on the discussion on the plant pathogenic bacteria. So this discussion will revolve around this very significant microorganism. Ano yung structure ng bacteria? We will be looking at some bacterial pathogens. Ano yung kanilang classification? What are their disease manifestations? And some control strategies. Now, this lecture will be kind of lengthy kasi mahaba-haba yung pag-uusapan natin, specifically on the different classifications of bacteria and the different diseases that it poses to plants. So, brace yourself, but just to just to be sure, in-structure ko itong lecture na to in such a way na logical yung order and madali siyang masundan. So, bago ang lahat, pag-uusapan natin kung ano ba itong bacteria na to. What are bacteria? What are plant pathogenic bacteria? So, we'll not be talking about animal bacteria, but plant bacteria. And ano yung kanilang major characteristic. So, what are the key characteristics of plant pathogenic bacteria? Because understanding yung characteristic o yung itsura, okay, or yung personality, let's say, kung tao yung pinag-aaralan natin, understanding these characteristics will help us predict kung paano mabuhay, paano mag-spread out or mag-survive yung mga bacteria na ito. Nang pag-uusapan natin is more on ano ba yung common characteristics among bacteria. Because later on, one part of our discussion will revolve around those bacteria that do not fit into this common characteristics of your bacteria. Okay. Now, ang mga plant bacteria, they are mostly rod-shaped. Rod-shaped, or in other words, they are bacilli. And so kapag narinig nyo yung word na yan, ibig sabihin they are rod-shaped. So they look like this. So para silang mga itlog. Itlog ng what? Itlog ng insekto. So they are not spherical, so they are not like this, but they are more oblong in terms of their shape. And there's a reason kung bakit ganyan ang shape nila. It is because yung ganitong shape would give them higher surface area, which allows them to absorb more nutrients efficiently and then mag-move doon sa different plant tissues more easily. Although later on, we will see that some bacteria do not fit into this rod-shaped category. Some bacteria are spherical, which means sila ay bilog. Okay, they shape like a sphere, and we term this as cocci. Whereas some naman, they are spiral. Spiral, no? So para silang mga twisted shape, basically. And they are like corkscrew. And yan yung way nila, later on we'll see, na yung shape nila na parang corkscrew has something to do with their movement as well. Now, most plant bacteria are also aerobic, which means they need air, they need oxygen. They need oxygen in order to survive. And bakit kaya sila mostly aerobic? Kung mapapansin mo, ang mga bacteria, they love oxygen-rich environments. So in the plant, you will see them infecting the leaves and stems kasi they are oxygen-rich environment. However, meron ka rin namang mga bacteria that are facultative anaerobic, which basically salawahan sila. They can thrive in environments that are poor in oxygen, but at the same time, kapag mayroong oxygen, they thrive better. And one classic example of a facultative anaerobic bacteria is your Erwinia amylovora. What else? Mostly, your bacteria is flagellated. Meron silang buntot, meron silang tail. And the reason for having the tail is for them to move. And why do bacteria need to move? First off, bacteria is attracted to infection sites. For example, yung mga infection sites na mayaman sa oxygen. So they gravitate towards those areas na kung saan uh, they could thrive better. At the same time, when there is some sort of environmental stress, let's say extreme temperature on one part of the plant, the bacteria tends to relocate. And they relocate using yung kanilang flagella. There are three major types of flagellation. We have monotrichous flagellation, which means may isang buntot yung bacteria. Parang sperm cell. So ito yon, ang example ng monotrichous. Meron din namang lophotrichous, which basically many flagella on one side of the bacteria, such as this. So para silang motorboat. And then meron din tayong type of flagellation we term as peritrichous, kung saan yung flagella is all over around the bacteria's body. So parang rambutan yung style. Most plant pathogenic bacteria are also gram-negative. So kung naririnig nyo when we're talking about bacteria, naririnig nyo yung dalawang classification which is gram-negative and gram-positive, right? Now, yung mga plant bacteria natin, they are gram-negative. And this classification has something to do with what we call as gram staining. We'll talk about more of that later. But basically, yung gram staining na yon is like, para siyang litmus test. And tinitest natin yung peptidoglycan, this one, the peptidoglycan layer of the bacteria. Now, the peptidoglycan layer is an important layer for bacteria. It supports their movement, it supports their function. At the same time, it allows them not to pop. Okay? Now, yung peptidoglycan layer sa mga gram-negative na bacteria is thin. Okay, so that's around 1 to 2 layers. So if we can see here, we have one layer of peptidoglycan layer for gram-negative. However, even though thin yung kanilang peptidoglycan layer, meron silang outer layer. This one. Okay, meron silang outer layer that protects the peptidoglycan layer. Yun yung isa sa mga classic or sa unique characteristics ng mga gram-negative bacteria. So example would be your Xanthomonas or Rhizae. Now, pag sinabi mo namang gram-positive, ang mga gram-positive bacteria naman, makapal yung kanilang peptidoglycan layer. You can see here, 4 na layers yung peptidoglycan nila. But they do not have any outer membrane protecting the peptidoglycan layer. Now, in terms of its interaction with antibiotics, alin sa tingin nyo ang mas matibay? Gram-negative or gram-positive? Pag antibiotic ang pinag-uusapan. Okay. Now, in terms of its interaction with antibiotic, mas matibay po ang mga gram-negative bacteria. Why? Because they have this outer membrane. Mostly kasi ang inaatake ng antibiotic is the peptidoglycan layer. So if they have an outer membrane to protect the peptidoglycan layer, they are more resistant to it. The gram-positive bacteria are less resistant because the antibiotic can directly affect yung peptidoglycan layer niya. However, in terms of its tenacity or in terms of its yung pagiging matibay nila on environmental stress, mas higit na matibay ang gram-positive bacteria because they have thicker peptidoglycan layer. An example of that in relation to plant pathogen is the Clavibacter michiganensis. But again, most plant bacteria are gram-negative. Most of your bacteria as well, they are non-spore forming. So they do not form spores for reproduction. Hindi po. They do not form spores. So if they do not form spores, how do they reproduce? Right? Kasi ang mga fungi, for example, they reproduce through spores. But for plant bacteria, They do not reproduce through spores, but they mainly reproduce through what we call as binary fission. Binary fission. And a simple definition of your binary fission is basically they divide themselves. And they do that so fast. They do that quickly. And they do that quickly because they rely on continuous host-to-host transmission. Ibig sabihin, if they are inside the host already, they multiply quickly so that kaya hindi na nila kailangan ng spores pa for persistence. Because the reason why fungi and some other pathogens produce spores ay para tumaas yung kanilang survival rate. But this time around, for plant pathogenic bacteria, they don't need spores because once inside the host plant, they multiply very, very quick. Although later on, we will see that there are some bacteria that produces spores. Now that we have a solid understanding on the characteristics of our plant pathogenic bacteria, tignan naman natin yung kanilang, how are they being classified? Okay? How are your bacteria being classified? And this is, kung mapapansin nyo, as we go along this lecture, kung mapapansin nyo, yung mga different classification ay papakita ko sa inyo, depends as well on the different characteristics of the bacteria. And we will be talking about the traditional method of classifying your bacteria muna. And then later on, we will be talking about the advanced method or the molecular method. So kapag sinabi nating traditional method, basically, we're just talking about the structure of your bacteria. Yung mga examples na binigay ko kanina, yung mga characteristic na diniscuss natin kanina, ano ba yung kanilang morphology? So that's the traditional method of classifying the bacteria. However, yung latest method, right after 1980, yun na yung tinatawag nating molecular method. And we're not just talking about the morphology of the bacteria, the different characteristics that we have discussed, but we will be talking about the DNA, okay, or the genes of the bacteria in classifying them. So what are the different traditional methods of classifying your bacteria? You can Magtitake ka ba ng licensure exam for agriculturists this year? If yes, I believe my course is for you. Enroll now at Learning Agri with the modular course by clicking the link below. Ano pang hinihintay mo? Mag-enroll ka na. Samahan kita mag-review. Bye!